It's the second World Golf Championships event of the season and the first of 2015. We are headed down to Doral for the Cadillac Championship, and before we do, this is what you need to know. I'm Amanda Balionis. He's John Swantek.
It is an elite field playing in Miami this week. Top 50 in the official World Golf Rankings qualify. So do the top 10 in the FedEx Cup standings after the Honda Classic, and players in the top 10 of the European Tour's race to Dubai. Getting here, that's half the battle. The other half, taking down the Blue Monster.
It is no easy task. It should come as no surprise that when Donald Trump is in charge, winning will be nothing easy. The course underwent extensive renovation in 2013 by Gil Hans and then played as the third most difficult course on the PGA Tour last season. So last week's Honda Classic at PGA National, that was no walk in the park, but maybe that's the best kind of preparation leading into this week.
Doral showed its teeth last year, and there was some feedback from the players after the first year, so I think it's going to play differently this week.
So yeah, just to drive that point home, take a look at how much more challenging the course played after the redesign. It played as the 31st toughest course in 2013. After the redesign, third toughest, so they certainly did their job. So let's now talk a little bit about our defending champion. Patrick Reed, 24 years old. And Swan, do you remember his famous quote now is 1 year ago when he made his top 5 comment. Since then, he's won his 4th event, the Hyundai Tournament of Champions, and he showed some serious grit at the Ryder Cup, so he is inching more towards that goal.
Yeah, no question about it. Reed was also in contention at the Honda Classic before some last-minute errors, which kind of took him out of it, but he's doing his best to live up to these expectations that he has made public, and he took a ton of heat for last year.
He did, but at some point you got to just love that kind of confidence, especially someone who can then back it up. In just 7 starts, he's carded 25 of 28 rounds, par or better. Not bad. He also finished in a tie for 3rd at the Hero Challenge, so his game is pretty on point right now.
He's got some moxie. He's got a little starch in his shirt, for sure. He's a possible top 5 player. He's certainly getting closer. We go now to the definitive world number 1, Rory McIlroy, looking to rebound from missing the cut last week at the Honda. He wasn't sharp, just really didn't have it, finished 7 over, missed the cut by a few shots. The Northern Irishman hadn't finished outside the top 2 in his previous 6 starts worldwide, so how much do we actually take away from last week?
I think we take absolutely nothing from last week. That was pure rust, he said. I mean, at some point you just get worn down. He's putting himself in contention week in and week out, and it's golf. You're going to have an off week once in a while. That's what that was. So I would not expect more of the same from world number 1 this week at Doral.
Terrific start to the season for Rory on the European Tour. Winner in Dubai, 2nd in Abu Dhabi, and I'm not sweating the miscut last week. He's got a different gear from most players. This guy could go miscut and win by 5 in back-to-back weeks.
You know who else could also do that? This man, Phil Mickelson, the guy we love to talk about because you never know what you're actually going to get from him. This is the guy who missed 2 cuts on the West Coast swing to finish out that West Coast swing, called his putting pathetic, but then notches a top 20 finish last week at Honda, which was an incredibly challenging course, says his putting feels better. So what do you think we can expect from Phil Mickelson this week?
I think it was encouraging what we saw at the Honda. The West Coast swing was not so much, and he's always played well to start the season on the West Coast. Mickelson is kind of picking his spots this year. I think he'll condense his schedule a little bit. We've seen that. He's won on this golf course in the past as well. That was prior to the Gil Hans redesign, of course. He finished 16th last year, and I think Phil is certainly trending in the right direction after what we saw at PGA National. Okay, time now for predictions, and not easy because this is a strong field. We're going to see Adam Scott this week, by the way,
Yes.
2015 debut. Henrik Stenson teeing it up for the first time in the States as well. Who do you like?
All right, well, I am going to go out on a limb and say that international flavor that we have going with Patrick Harrington winning at the Honda. I think that continues to roll on. Another Ryder Cupper, Jamie Donaldson. That's who I'm going with. Strong play, strong player, does well on tough courses, and I think we're going to see some great stuff out of him. He's had a strong start to his European Tour season, so this will be the first time that we see him stateside. Who you got?
I'll keep your European theme going. I like the way Ian Poulter played at PGA National. I really do. It was a really sharp performance from Poulter, whose 2 official PGA Tour victories were both World Golf Championships. He's a big game player. He rises to the occasion. Still hasn't won a stroke play event in the United States, but I think there's a good chance that may change this week. I think he's in really sharp form after what we saw last week at the Honda.
There is absolutely no shortage of coverage this upcoming week. You can check out the WGC Cadillac Championship, of course, the network coverage, spotlight coverage, by the way, on Golf Channel. You're going to hear a very familiar voice this man right next to me, John Swantek, kicking it off. Yeah, kicking it off at 3 p.m. Of course, our live coverage will be beginning at 11 a.m. on Thursday and Friday, and then the opposite event, Puerto Rico Open, that's also Thursday through Sunday, so check your local listings for the network coverage of that as well.